Hello again.
Good morning. How are you?
Hope you are enjoying your week so far. I certainly am enjoying some better weather in South Louisiana than we've had in the past couple of weeks.
Well, boy, this the deluge we had for a week, followed by sun and no moisture. Are you watching your grass and the plants and all that just going?
No. I'm hoping that the plants in my backyard will go. My backyard looks like a jungle after the weeks and weeks and weeks of rain.
I love our friends in the nursery business. I never understood why people would want to go, particularly in South Louisiana, and buy these little things at like $6.99 each, $7.99. Then get out in 98-degree weather and dig holes and put them in there,
and then watch them die.
And then buy $8 worth of little plant fertilizer you can sprinkle on them. And 4 weeks later, after all your care, they're dead.
Watch them die.
And you go right back and you buy more.
Yep.
See, if I had my way...
It's a vicious circle, isn't it?
Every place I have ever lived, I wanted to have beautiful rocks, large ones, surrounding the house, and then green paving. I don't need to be growing weeds of any kind, even if they're pretty weeds, even if they have names. They're still weeds.
The definition of a weed is any plant that you don't want.
Pretty much.
So in my case, I've got irises that are weeds because I don't want them.
A lot of people like irises.
Calla lilies. Good God, they grow wild in my backyard.
Wow, you should open a floral shop.
I have hundreds of them. And you've got to uproot them by the rhizome. You've got to get in there with a fork and get them out.
I am telling you, those two things go into every arrangement made by a florist in this city.
I don't know. It's just...
I'm talking about a side hustle here.
I do not have a green thumb. I am not a gardener.
Flower arrangements by Mr. Kevin.
Not here.
No?
No.
Maybe you could sell them wholesale.
The other thing is that because they're all growing so close together, they're choked out. They don't bloom all that often. So I've just got these big green stalks that then turn brown and look terrible. So anybody wants to hire on as a free gardener, I'd be glad to pay you nothing. We
have a happy accident. We have at our home in our backyard. We have about 110, 120-year-old oak tree. And it's got two pecan trees of about the same age, one on either side. And over the years, with storms and all that, we had a whole bunch of deadfall. I mean, we had limbs from this big to this big, from this big around to this big around. So in the spring when it was cool, I cleared out all that deadfall. And we put down mulch, and Karen planted a bunch of caladiums, and we put in some big pots beside the trees, and we put in some lighting, and coming up through the mulch is a beautiful ground cover that's related to the morning glory. Now it's an actual weed, I guess, but it doesn't grow high. It stays on top of the ground and the mulch, and it's about to cover the whole area. And so I'm going to leave it just to see. But that was kind of a happy accident. That's I don't have to pull this. It can stay, and it requires no maintenance.
Little leaves, some dark, some light?
Yes.
Kind of shiny?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a relative of jasmine. Okay. And it creeps. It'll grow up and down on the sides of things. It'll grow as ground cover. It'll grow all over. I had a few years back, I had to go and root some out and kill it because it was threatening to take over my yard.
I can live with that. I just go over it with the weed whacker if it starts to get high. But right now, it's just making a nice little green carpet, and it requires no attention.
That's the way I like it.
That's the way we all like it.
I'm not going back there to pay attention to plants.
You require no attention. You're for me.
My idea of paying attention to my yard is writing a check for the lawn guy and sticking it in the screen door.
See, I pay attention to things like bacon and HBO and big pieces of meat. I don't pay attention to weeds.
we got some interesting guests lined up on the show today. We're hoping today to have a conversation with Denise Marcelle. She is a state representative from here in Baton Rouge, and she has decided to throw her hat in the ring to become the mayor-president of East Baton Rouge Parish, running against her friend and colleague, former colleague, Sharon Weston Broom. She's scheduled to be with us today. Also, later in the program, our friend John Couvillion pays us a visit.
Yeah, John is a pollster and demographer, and he does an awful lot of looking at political trends, not just here, but in races that are similar in other states. So he's going to do a little handicapping on all of our congressional races, and then he's going to talk a little bit about the mayoral race. But we're going to go kind of broad, since every member of the House has to run for re-election. That means there are going to be 6 congressional elections, and all but one of them are in our viewing area, at least partially, if not totally. Mike Johnson. We don't get up to Mike Johnson's district.
Yeah, Mike Johnson's, and District 3 maybe. We're seen in Lafayette, so I got to take that completely.
Yeah, we are
back.
seen in Lafayette.
But wait, basically, northwestern Louisiana is the only part of the state where we're not seen at all.
And in Baton Rouge, the lawsuits, they are a fly-in. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Stick around. This is Exiles TV. Glad you're with us.
Taste the feeling.
State Treasurer John Schroeder, encouraging you to visit latreasury.com to search for your unclaimed property money. During this pandemic, we've returned money to businesses, local governments, and people across Louisiana.
New Orleans Habitat for Humanity found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Treasury.
Audubon Nature Institute has unclaimed property.
I found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Department of Treasury.
We still have over $800 million. This is your money. Claim it.
Welcome back. It is Exiles TV. Bill Profita over there, Kevin Gallagher here. And joining us in just about 7 minutes, we're going to be talking with State Representative Denise Marcelle, who is going to run for, is running. She's qualified. She is in the race to become the next mayor-president of East Baton Rouge Parish, which is the state's most populous parish. That's a big job. It's a big parish. There's a lot, a $1 billion budget every year, and a lot on the line. So we're going to be talking with her in just a few minutes.
Well, we have lawsuits now in the mayor's race.
Yeah, it seems to be in a lot of the races, political races this year, is like, if you don't think you can win, sue.
Well, challenging the candidacies is not that unusual to be rare, but it is not exactly an everyday type of affair. There were lawsuits filed against Matt Watson's candidacy, saying that he had unfinished business with the Ethics Bureau.
Watson's lawyer, however, has produced documents who says we settled this months ago.
Well, actually, he settled it the day before qualifying. But it was still
that's months ago.
Well, but the thing is, they had been notified at the Secretary of State's office, And that day, they said, you are acceptable as a candidate. So at that point, the lawsuit just becomes smearing and harassment.
Yes.
Now, a lawsuit filed by 3 East Baton Rouge Parish residents Friday is seeking to block Councilwoman Tara Wicker. The lawsuit claims that Councilwoman Wicker has not filed Louisiana state income taxes for 2016 or 2018 and has not filed for a tax extension. However, Ms. Wicker provided paperwork that says that she says proves the allegations are false. She provided a local television station in Baton Rouge, WAFB, with a signed letter from her accountant saying he filed taxes for Wicker and her husband for each of these past 5 years.
Okay. Now, are those all the lawsuits in the mayor's race?
That's it. What is interesting about this is this lawsuit appears to be filed by 3 non-candidates, but it also appears that they are very, very close and they support Sharon Weston Broom.
That's not. I don't think that's uncommon, where people that fiercely support one candidate will find a reason to file suit against a challenger.
Now, this is going to be heard by Judge Tim Kelly on Friday.
Okay.
So we will see what Judge Kelly has to say. I do not want to try to preempt the judge, but I believe that he is known pretty much as a no harm, no foul type of judge, and seems to say let the people decide when it comes to matters of election. There have been other suits involving elections or propositions that have come before him in the past, and he has said this is a let the people decide type of issue.
And also here in the Baton Rouge area. But wait, there's more. There's a lawsuit filed against Metro Councilman Lamont Cole, who's running for re-election in his district. The lawsuit alleges he does not live in his district.
I think that one has been settled as well.
Oh, has it?
Yeah.
What else? 2 judges that were running have been told that they cannot run. And lawsuits were filed, but I don't know what the outcome of this is.
Well,
but 2 judges have been told, Janice Clark and
Tony Higginbotham
have been told they're too old. I wasn't aware until recently that there is an age limit for judges.
This has been around forever, and it was actually supported by the judiciary at the time. It went through the legislature, and it was signed into law that Louisiana judges, so that includes the Louisiana district courts, the Court of Appeal, administrative law judges that handle things like insurance matters and things like that,
right,
and also the Supreme Court, may not qualify for a re-election or election in the first place after their 70th birthday. There's a mandatory retirement age for judges. And this was supported by the judiciary when it was passed, and I think it was passed about 15 years ago. Judge Clark turned 70, I believe, a year and a half or so ago.
Right.
She was told that she could finish her term, which is what the law specifies, but that she could not requalify. She went with qualifying papers in hand. They accepted them. The Supreme Court had a hearing, and they said, no, take her off the ballot. Now, she intends to try to file a federal appeal. The feds are probably going to say, no, there's no federal jurisdiction here.
Excuse me, wait a minute. The law is the law. And if the law says 70, that's it.
Well, she feels that it's discrimination based on age and that it's unconstitutional.
Where was she when they were passing this?
Well,
she wasn't 70 yet. That's what she was.
Tony Higginbotham actually removed her name from the ballot after the Supreme Court came down with their opinion. So that's pretty much where we are on those two. But I'm sure you're going to see all kinds of questions raised, and I really do think that while I never want to stent someone's right to go to the courts, I also feel that the courts have been fairly gracious. There's a lot of these things that on hand they could say, no, we're not going to hear it. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get a court date.
But they'll at least give it a fair hearing. Well, in most cases.
The thing is, do they feel it deserves a hearing? I mean, the thing is, you can sue me or I can sue you, and the court doesn't automatically give us our day in court. The judge has to say there is merit here to hearing this.
Yes, I'll hear this case.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So here's the deal. State law says you got to retire at 70. You're over 70. It's clear on its face. And as they told her, go to your legislative branch and get them to change the law, and we'll see you next election.
Well, one candidate for office this fall who is not facing a judicial challenge, a lawsuit, is Denise Marcelle, current state representative from the Baton Rouge area. She wants to be the mayor-president of East Baton Rouge Parish. She joins us next when Exiles continues.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location, 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us this morning. Hey, we finally got some decent weather. Hot, but not as humid. And we're not all having to wear swim fins and snorkels out there.
We might go down to 70 overnight tonight.
Ooh, wouldn't that be nice?
Ooh, turn off the AC.
Give the AC a little break.
Break out the
And
blankets.
Entergy's going, no, say it ain't so, because that meter is running. We have got an election coming up in East Baton Rouge Parish for the mayor-president, the top position. One of the candidates is someone who is well known to people in the Baton Rouge area, a three-term Metro Councilwoman, and now a current state representative, C. Denise Marcelle. She is announced for mayor, and she joins us. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you all? And thank you for inviting me here.
So, lots of people in this race.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
What made you decide to get in?
Well, I was urged by many of the residents of this parish to run for mayor. I thought about it for quite a while. I wanted to make sure that I was through with the session and the COVID was going on, so I kind of tussled with it a little bit. But at the urging of the residents of this parish, I got in the race.
When you've got people that have supported you in many, many other elections, they have supported you for your councilmatic elections. They supported you, and as I remember the results, with pretty big numbers, to go to the State House.
Yes.
You're kind of coming in with a whole lot of votes in your pocket.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to take for granted what the voters will do. I will say this: the base that I represent now. They like what I do for them because I'm always working for the people. I'm always out front on issues. And so many of the people that I represent, I answer to them. I have transparency. Almost everybody has my telephone number. That's not something that most politicians do. And I've had the same number for over 20 years, so I still get the same calls. So I have a connectivity, I would say, to my base.
What would be job one for you if elected mayor president? I mean, what needs to be done in East Baton Rouge Parish that isn't being addressed?
Well, first of all, I would go into the office and assess all of the departments and see how they're functioning or not functioning. I get many calls, as you know, as he said previously a few minutes ago, that I was on the Metro Council. So the 311 system of the complaints have consistently been a problem for East Baton Rouge Parish, for residents. I don't care what side of town you live on. Mm-hmm. If you can't get your trash picked up, if you can't get your complaints answered. So one of the very first things that I would do would be to look at that department and how we could restructure it, how we can come up with innovative ways where the citizens, and I talked about this when I ran for mayor before 4 years ago, how we can put apps on the phones where the residents can actually send in a request from their phones and in real time get some kind of response back from that. I think that's what all of us really want, to be able to live a life free of trash, debris, blight, crime, and be able to do those things as efficiently as possible. That would be one of the first things that I would attack as mayor president, and certainly with the high number of crimes in Baton Rouge, that would certainly be a focal point for me.
You know, it's very interesting. Crime is on everyone's mind. I don't care what part of the city or the parish you live in.
Correct.
Crime is on everybody's mind. And it appears at this point that the incumbent is going to run on, hey, I've made Baton Rouge safer. I take it you're going to disagree with that.
Well, I'm not going to bash the mayor in any way. That's not my intent. I'm running for the office. I want to tell the people what I think I can do differently to make Baton Rouge better, and that's my slogan, making Baton Rouge better. And so I will say this. I have been seriously alarmed and concerned by the number of crimes in our city, particularly the murders. And so I think we just have two different approaches. And one of the things that most recently happened was the Plank Road Club that started on Plank Road from Evangeline to Airline, where they took over the streets from Friday to Saturday, mm-hmm. and residents could not move. My approach is to just go out there and deal with it. And I guess her approach was a lot differently because she didn't step up to, in my opinion, to address that issue as I would have. And I don't know what she was doing maybe behind the scenes, but I kept getting calls from the constituents that live in that area that said, I can't get out of my driveway, I can't get home, they're shooting at night, what are you guys gonna do? And so I went out there on my own and talked to the young people.
You know what, that's an interesting thing. That's a quote that you're the first candidate so far I've heard say it. I think a lot of people are going to be saying it. But what does dealing with it really mean when you have a situation like that?
Well, for me, I'm connected to my community, and I'm not afraid of my community. So I guess we would have two different approaches because I have a relationship with my community. For me, what I said we should do was come together with the city police, the sheriff, the city constable, everybody come together, and I thought it would be good for the leaders to step up in front of that particular situation and say, hey, we're going to be a buffer for the police. We're not going to let the police take the hit for this. This is our community. We need to step up, and we need to say to them that we're not having it. As leaders in this community, we're not having it. And so that was my approach. I think maybe you guys know or don't know, we were supposed to have a press conference, and the mayor canceled that press conference where the leaders were supposed to come together and address that issue. And when she abruptly canceled it, I didn't see anything else for me to do but to go out there on my own. And so the next Friday night, I went out there on my own, and they were, of course, blocking the gas pumps, and they were partying, and I just kind of talked to them, what's going on and what are you looking for, and most of them wanted jobs and they wanted something else to do. So I think there was this perception that the COVID was here, we're locked in, and what do you think we're going to do, and the clubs are closed, and we're just going to make our own party. And I said to them, you cannot make your own party at a gas station on Plank Road. You cannot disrupt other people's way of living when they're trying to sleep. Many of the residents over there go to work every day. And so to have gunshots ringing out and you don't know if you're going to get shot while you're laying in your bed, it's just unacceptable.
And you don't know if you're going to get shot while you're out there taking action. That was my next question. You put yourself in harm's way.
Well, I'm willing to do that. I potentially did that, and when I first went out there, there was a couple of guys that were telling me that, why are you out here? You must be bored. You ain't got nothing to do. But what I liked about when I went out there was just a few that knew who I was, and they said to the bad guys, "Hey, hold up, that's Miss Denise. Hold up now. Don't talk to Miss Denise like that. Hold up. Let's hear her out," right? And so I was willing to continue my conversation, even with the interruptions of the person that didn't know me. And finally, he came back and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know this. You're going to be our next mayor, I heard. So I'm so sorry." I said, "It's not about me being your next mayor. It's about you respecting everybody. And it's about this business that had to call the police." Just as I was getting them to disperse and unblock all the gas pumps, the police started to pull up. And I went and had a conversation with them as well and said, "Y'all don't need to move. Y'all don't need to act." They're moving, and they dispersed, and they haven't been back since.
So, well, exactly, taking care of it, dealing with it. Let me ask you about something else that you're going to have to deal with, and that is, what do you see as the condition of the city parish budget right now, and where do you see it when the new mayor takes office?
Well, I think there are going to be some challenges, certainly with St. George forming their own city. If that depends on what the courts come back with that ruling, I think that's going to be a real strain on East Baton Rouge Parish's budget. I certainly need to come in and analyze what those figures are and what we need to do to change things. We're going to have to get more innovative, have to have more partnerships with businesses and industry to make this city functionable. And I think, one of our big things is ExxonMobil, of course. That's a big contributor to a lot of our funds here in the parish.
Largest taxpayer in the parish.
It's largest taxpayer in the parish, and certainly LSU football, in which we're going to see a hit in that regard this year. So there are going to be a lot of different things that's going to be different, particularly with the COVID that's going on. I don't think anybody really knows the impact that COVID is going to have on the businesses or the residents or not just our parish, but our state. I think once the federal government is going to have to do some things to support us and to help us, and that's where we're going to be with that.
Any thoughts on bringing more economic development to East Baton Rouge Parish?
Absolutely, and one of the centers of Baton Rouge, I believe, is Cartana Mall, and I represent that area. I actually have a meeting this week with someone who want to talk about developing that area and doing some things within that. I live in the Villa del Rey community now, and constantly, even on Nextdoor app, I'm reading the comments, and some of the things that they're concerned with is our property values are going down because, of course, the dilapidated property. I want to certainly go in. One of the things that I'm going to address, whether I'm mayor or not, is the high growth of the grass around Cartana Mall. It looks a mess.
Yes.
We've got to do something. You can't incentivize people to come in when you got your city looking like that. So you've got to do some sprucing up, and you've got to be innovative in reaching out. You got to have the ability to reach out, go to other cities. It's happened before, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. See what other cities have done, like Austin and other cities, and bring these types of businesses into Baton Rouge. But you got to incentivize them, and that means doing a lot of different things.
There was someone who sat right where you're sitting a week ago that said they believe that the current administration did not do any kind of incentivizing to Dillard's to make them willing to sell their store, like perhaps giving them relocation assistance to another store that would work. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but it certainly seems like it was almost a done deal. Well,
let me just say that I haven't had a conversation with the mayor to know why that deal didn't go right. As mayor president, I would have done everything in my power. I can only speak for Denise to make sure that deal would have gone through, or some deal that was similar to that. I know the governor was working on it. That I had spoken to Garrett Graves because again, that property is in my current state rep district. So I had been in some conversations with our congressman about that facility. That seemed to have been a lot of secretive deals or conversations going on around it. I don't want to speak to what the mayor did or didn't do. I just know it didn't happen, and I thought it was a travesty.
We're going to continue talking with State Representative C. Denise Marcelle, who is a candidate for mayor president in the November 3rd election right here in East Baton Rouge Parish. But first, we're going to pay some bills. Back in a moment on Exiles TV.
That's right, the Clarence Buggs Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Exiles TV returns. Bill Profita over there. I'm Kevin over here. And in the center chair, see Denise Marcelle. She is a state representative from the Baton Rouge area, running for mayor president of East Baton Rouge Parish. That's a big job, mayor president. We're one of the few parishes that has that city parish government model. So you have to act as the parish president, represent everybody in the whole parish, plus be concerned about the needs of the city itself.
Yeah, it's very unique. Not a lot of places have that. It's always baffled me why we were structured that way, but it is the way we're structured. Certainly the mayor president has to look out for Central, Zachary, Baker, and potentially St. George. So you got to be concerned with all the residents within the parish, but at the same time, you got to run a city.
Well, and we are, the home rule charter, and I think there's a couple more. Orleans is like that. And I believe Lafayette is as well, but it is unique, and I think for a lot of people it's easier if you have a mayor of Shreveport and you have a president of Caddo Parish, and they're two separate entities. Sometimes you got a little backup there in either office, but when you're the mayor president of Baton Rouge, it's a party of one at the table. You're it.
Yes, I agree.
I have a question about the council. And again, I don't want to get off into bashing Her Honor, but she's not seen at a lot of council meetings. And this is a council that it seems to me at times they need some guidance. They need some leadership because they have a tough time. They get at loggerheads over things. Would you be a more active participant in council meetings as mayor?
I absolutely would be.
Having been a council member yourself.
Having been a council member, I kind of know that I agree that the mayor should. Now, on just regular issues, I don't think that the mayor should be there every council meeting, but there are a lot of issues where I think, I would stand up to support or speak for or against an issue or support it where I think that they would need guidance. I saw that a lot with Kip Holden. He himself may not have come, but he did have a representative always there speaking on issues that were important to the city. And so I guess I came up under Kip Holden, and so I like that model of a mayor being visible and present and leading in a lot of the council meetings. So yes, I would. I mean, if it was something really going on in the city, Kip would come down himself and speak. And I have not seen that a lot with this mayor president.
There are going to be a lot of people that are running against others rather than running for the office. And it's very hard when you have 8 people in to not be running against somebody else running for the office. If I remember all your council campaigns properly and your state representative campaign, that's not your style.
Well, no.
You run on your own merits.
And that's exactly the way I'm going to run this race. I'm running on my own merits. I'm going to talk to the people about what I would do for this city to make Baton Rouge better and not what someone else is going to do. I was in a race against Byron Sharper, my original race. I was never going to bash Byron Sharper. He never bashed me. That's the kind of person that I am. I was in a race with Donna Collins Lewis. She didn't bash me. I didn't bash her. We ran on the issues. I plan on doing the same thing in this race. I'm not going to bash the mayor. Now, if you charge Denise Marcelle, now if you come with something, I'll answer you back. But I'm not going to start any. I think we should run a clean campaign, and I think we should run it on the issues and what we can do for the city rather than, and you know, this notion that somebody owns a seat is just foreign to me. I believe that that's why we have elections, so that people can say whether or not put you back in that seat if they think you've done a great job, and if they think that they want to try something different, then they have the ability to do so. And so that's why I'm running. You're right. That's never been my style. I don't bash other people. I'm going to stay in my race and in my lane.
With 9 in the race, including Her Honor, debates are going to be an interesting thing. How willing are you to debate? You ready to get out there and slog away?
I am willing to debate, and I don't know if you guys remember, but I was in the last election 4 years ago, and there was 12 of us.
Oh, I know.
In the election, so there were forums then. I debated then, and I'll debate now. And you know, I don't really like the word debate, but I think it's more of a discussion.
Candidates
forum.
I like
discussions.
candidates forum better,
Let's talk about what I want to propose.
And most of them aren't debates.
I know they really don't turn into debates. For the most part, what I've seen with debates, I really like to touch the people. I like being on the ground. I like going to people's houses. I like small settings. I like talking to the people and listening to what they want to see happen in Baton Rouge. Because what I found with debates is after we do them over and over again, the same people show up. And it's the people from my campaign. It's the people from whoever's in the race campaign, and it's nobody that you're changing their minds in the room, because everybody's in the room has already made up their minds
for the voters
of what right. But I don't mind it at all. But I do like talking to the voters. I like going out, meeting them one-on-one. It's been difficult because of the COVID, but of course I've been doing a lot of the COVID testing.
Well, yeah, speaking of that, you've got your mask, and you're running a mask campaign. There we go.
Mask Up. That's right. Mask Up,
go.
Louisiana. That's correct. So I am running that campaign, and it's because of what the medical professions have said to us. It's not about me being afraid or taking anyone's freedom. I believe that I need to respect you. You need to respect me. We don't know who's asymptomatic. We have people dying every day, and this is serious disease that's going around. This pandemic is killing people. It's not just getting people sick. It is killing people. And anything that I can do to save someone's life, I'm going to do it. So when the governor had his mandate, I know you've seen the billboards. I did the Mask Up campaign. I also put out posters for the businesses, because what I also found was that businesses were writing little signs on the door, depending on how fortunate they were to have computers or whatever, and they was writing notes. I went to every business. I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. So I came up with these posters that talked about the ordinance, and that says mask up.
A uniform sign is a good idea.
And so I made some uniform signs for my district, but they started to float in other areas. People started to call and ask for it, and I'm still available if any businesses want those signs, to certainly tell people that in order to come into their businesses. I'm hopeful that we'll get into the other phase, but until we do, I think we got to act in a safe manner.
We've talked a bit about crime earlier, but do you hope to be able to find room in the city parish budget, well, city budget especially, to give police officers a much needed pay raise?
I think we do. we do have to find money in the budget to give, and there has to be other ways that look at, we got to look at grants, we got to look at how do we fund the police and how do we get their equipment and cars. I talked to somebody on Facebook the other day where they were in the conversation about the police not even having the proper equipment in their cars, and we just cannot have that. We can't have that, but there are ways that we can get those things in. As you know, I was the person who pushed for the body cameras,
Yes.
and that was a big deal about, we don't have the money in the budget. Well, let's find the money. Let's find the money, because this protects the police as well as the citizens. And of course, it was a big concern about a lot of people, where are we going to get this huge amount of money from? But we found it. And at the end of the day, we've got to do the same thing when it comes to equipment for the police officers, when it comes to salaries, because one of the things about the salaries of the police officers, you got to attract good police officers, right? Well qualified police. If you have a low pay, you just might get some things in there that you don't want. And I'm certainly not for officers that are not acting in the safety and the best interests of any of our citizens.
And by the way, I'd just like to say you were absolutely 100% correct about body cameras, and they have been wonderfully efficacious in creating transparency.
And the cops love them too, because again, when people make an accusation now, they say, let's go to the tape.
Correct. And so I'm glad you guys remember I was on the radio show talking about it when you guys were on the radio about the body cameras, and I got a lot of pushback, but that's about leadership. That's about, it wasn't the popular thing to do when I did it, but I did it. And so, many people can say that they funded it or they did whatever.
It was your bill.
But at the end of the day, it was my idea to do it. I did it before all of these things started to come out. So you got to be proactive. And I tell people all the time, I'm proactive and I'm not reactive.
See, Denise, Marcelle is running for mayor president on the November 3rd ballot. It is a crowded field. I know you will see and hear more from Miss Marcelle as we get into the election season. But we always appreciate. I know how busy you are. I'm hoping you think we're a good break from your phone, because I saw you on the phone the entire time before we called you up to the set here. But come back and see us, please.
I absolutely will, and I want to thank you guys for always being open and to having me come in and talk about whatever issues we're dealing with, whether that was the body cameras or the Alton Sterling or whatever's going on in this city. When it was the Great Flood, I was there for the Great Flood. And so I'm always on the ground. I'm always willing to talk about whatever's going on in this city or this state. And I love you guys for inviting me, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And we always
have to come back.
To every candidate, we say, please come back and see us, and good luck in the campaign.
And I just want to make Baton Rouge better.
Thank you. See, Denise Marcelle running for mayor president. Back with more after we pay some bills on Exiles TV. Stick around.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Back.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Hi.
Welcome. Bienvenue. Willkommen.
That was a nice visit with Denise
It was a great
Marcelle.
visit. Great visit.
She had been a guest on our radio show several times in the past, but I think that's the first time we've had her on the TV show. And it's going to be a big race. Now, it's funny because we said that this is going to be the largest pool in the mayor's race, but then she just reminded us it was originally bigger 4 years ago.
It was 12. But if you remember, I don't like putting it this way, but it's the easiest way to say it. 4 of the 12 are what I consider to be nuisance candidates.
Mm-hmm. My thing with the last mayoral race, and please, candidates, if you're watching us right now, stop talking about education. Don't tell me you're going to be the education mayor. A lot of us are smart enough to understand that you don't have any authority over the East Baton Rouge Parish school system.
And
you can offer them leadership or influence, but you can't make education better in our parish.
You actually shouldn't offer them diddly squat. They want to be their own taxing authority and their own government, then they need to take care of their own mess.
I couldn't agree more.
And on my scorecard, she gets points for not having mentioned the E word.
I mean, last cycle, it came down to 2 candidates in a runoff who were both saying, education, the SCOOs.
The SCOOs. Gonna fix the SCOOs.
SKOOS.
What did
The SCOOs.
What did I say at the time? If you can't say it, you can't run it.
Right. But please, candidates for me, don't talk to me about education. We had a candidate on our podcast last week. He took right off. First thing out of his mouth was education, even though you warned him.
I did. I warned him.
And he started talking about education. It's like you have no role. All you could do is maybe go to the school board and say, could we please work in this direction?
But, here's the thing. I have always been a great student of context. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, in my opinion, many mayoral candidates fall down because they try to give a mayor's position on education some sort of context, and it doesn't exist. The context, the facts of the matter are that the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board is its own government.
Mm-hmm. Its own taxing authority.
They have taxing authority. They have their own elections for their board. They choose their own mayor or city manager. This fly is going to really kill me here.
I thought you were just gesticulating wildly.
No. By the way, have you seen the report on Channel 9? I'm going to call her Shovel Hands. This is her move.
Which one?
His name is Briette or something like that. But this is her move. It's like, I think her dad was a heavy equipment operator that did trees. But anyway, we digress. Who was that just walked in?
Just a supporter.
Was it
He stuck his head in the door and said, I just wanted to say good luck. We're all counting on you.
Was it a leftover from the old Scott Rogers show? Who's at the door? Anyway, the context The context of the school board is that they are their own government. They have their own structure.
Right.
And they levy their own taxes on us.
Right.
So for a mayor to deliberately ignore that context, or a mayoral candidate to deliberately ignore that context, I find to be terribly disingenuous.
I also don't like the seeming ignorance. If you're going to run for mayor, these are things you should know, that you don't have a role in education.
Well, or the thinking
or
the
don't think
voters
that-
are ignorant.
Thank you. As where I was good. Don't presume that I'm ignorant and I don't know that you don't have a role in education, and promise me that you're going to be the education mayor. It's like, hey.
Now, I would tell you that if I were an elected member of the school board, when there is a mayoral election, because I don't think they run in the same years, I would go to every rally and every forum, and when they say, I want to be the education, I would stand up and say, not your business.
Yeah.
Tell your story walking. You're a lying sack of you-know-what. That would stop this.
Yeah. But please stop promising us things you can't do.
Well, I mean, it's exactly the same as saying, I want to improve East Baton Rouge Parish's space program. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting. You remember the last cycle, the last mayoral cycle, one of the candidates that I was particularly fond of, just because he's such a no-nonsense guy, and he was the only one during the mayoral candidates forum that seemed to understand what the mayor's job really is.
And that was Smokey.
Smokey Bourgeois.
Yeah.
He's a character. Some people love him. Some people hate him. I'm on the love side. But I was like, this one guy is the only one that seems to understand that you can't be the education mayor. Everybody else go fix the schools, fix the schools.
There are intelligent people. There are people that make political contributions. There are people that advise candidates. And they look at me and they say, oh, yeah, Bill, but you know, the mayor can use his or her bully pulpit to influence. No, you can't. That school board is going to give you a two-finger salute, and it's not going to be the victory sign.
You can hope that it works. You can get up there and you can try to use your bully pulpit, and you can hope that it works.
See, I don't think the mayor-president of this parish has a bully pulpit at this point.
Well, I mean, I think everybody understands that there's no reason to listen to the mayor-president on education matters.
Well, even more importantly, there is no reason for the school board to listen to the mayor-president because context. They run in their own elections, they are their own government, they are their own taxing authority, and they don't get boo squat from the executive department of the mayor-president, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's when, if you really want to defend your office, you tell them, you go. You can finish that.
Yep.
Because I was elected to be a member of the council for this government, not you. And see, this is the thing where people get, and they love to hear people running for mayor talk about education. And what they should do is say, how dare you talk about education, talk about the police, talk about DPW, talk about the things that you have control over.
Talk about city parish services.
Talk about city parish services, because the school board is not under your purview. Not now, not ever. Now, if you really want it to be, do what they did in New York and Chicago. Sue to buy the school district, which took a long time but was successful in both of those cities. And now the mayor's office does have control over the schools.
Yeah, it's a small town I'm from in PA, but that was the case in Pennsylvania. It wasn't the, we had a mayor, but the mayor in our city government was a figurehead position.
City manager
actually ran the city and the business, but the city manager also attended school board meetings and had, you know, a controlling vote, the tiebreaker, as it were, in school board meetings. Before we go to break, real quick, bit of good news. Iberville Parish Sheriff Brett Stasi, who's been on the program with me and Bill, on the radio program many, many times. I was a little bit concerned for Brett when I heard that he had COVID-19.
Yep.
Because Brett's a big man, and we know that COVID-19 is hard on the obese, very hard on people that are overweight. But he's been released from the hospital.
See? It proves my theory. He's just big boned.
More and more people who get this disease are pulling through, and I'm wondering when the governor is going to understand this and acknowledge it and start easing up some of the restrictions.
Well, we are flattening once again from what I hear, so hopefully it won't be too much longer. When we come back, a beloved figure at LSU and in our area and nationally is retiring. We'll talk a little bit about that.
The end of an era.
Hour number 2, yes it is, the end of an era. Hour number 2 of Exiles TV comes your way. Stick around. Don't go anywhere.
Belello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Belello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Exiles from what, you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Back, Hour 2, Exiles TV, coming your way. I'm Bill Profita. The genial gentleman on my left, your right, is Kevin Gallagher.
That is the rumor.
That you're genial or that you're on my left?
No, that I am Kevin Gallagher.
Oh, well, that's undisputed.
I have some references. We mentioned this teasingly going into the top of the hour, but it is with a heavy heart. I guess we shouldn't have a heavy heart. We should be glad for LSU gymnastics coach Dee Dee Bro, retiring after 43 years.
43 years.
43 years as the gymnastics coach at LSU. How many national championships?
Way too many to count, but she has been coaching there since she was 24 years old when she was in graduate school. Here's some firsts or some records. She is retiring as the longest tenured coach of any sport in the Southeastern Conference. All right? Her teams have placed among the top 10 nationally 31 times in her 43 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
They finished second in the national ranking in 16, 17, 19, third and 14, fourth and 88, and fifth in 2008, 2013, and 6th on 4 separate occasions.
By the way, the answer to my earlier question, 14 times national champions since 2002.
Mm-hmm. And countless Olympians, by the way, coming out of her program.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think that there can be any argument that she may be, as far as wins, one of the most prolific coaches in LSU history.
Yeah. She was named Coach of the Year 9 times and NCAA Central Regional Coach of the Year 9 times. And let me tell you what, much like Dale Brown, who had started just a little before she did, she promoted that team. She would go out and hand out tickets in the quadrangle and in parking lots to get people to come.
Oh, and she'd get out radio interviews and, call now and get free tickets. I mean, she was a inexhaustible promoter of LSU gymnastics. And anytime that a charitable function
everyone
wanted Dee Dee for anything, she was always there. Always. And she's going to be sorely missed. Now, Jay Clark has been, for lack of a better phrase, let's call him co-head coach.
That's what she calls him, yeah.
And Jay Clark will be taking over. I hope that Jay Clark can continue the success of LSU gymnastics, because, I mean, it's a program that's really looked upon in the world of gymnastics as a major force.
Well, as she says herself, and this is a quote, Jay was named co-head coach in anticipation of this moment. He's a great recruiter, and his coaching philosophy is demanding and produces excellence. I have confidence in my decision because the torch is being passed to him. She will stay in the athletic department as an emeritus coach, much like Skip Bertman did before he became athletic director.
So if Jay should for any reason ever find himself, at odds, he's got her right there to consult with.
Well, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're not going to want Dee Dee, if she is willing, to stay as an assistant athletic director in some capacity.
Do you know where else she's going to be very, very valuable? Fundraising. Fundraising. Skip Bertman proved his worth many times over after his retirement as a fundraiser for LSU athletics.
But she says, I'm 67 now. She doesn't look it.
She looks great.
But she says she wants to spend more time with her grandchildren. And God knows, there comes a time when as much as you'd like to see her stay, there's time to step down. I mean, I often think about coaches that might regret that they didn't stand down earlier. And I think of Pat Summitt at Tennessee. She was the most successful coach in NCAA Division I women's basketball. And everybody was saying, you've done everything you can do. Why don't you just retire? No, I'm going to hang a while. And then she was forced to retire by Alzheimer's and never got to enjoy the home at the lake, never got to enjoy the grandchildren. And it mercifully took her very quickly. But, if Dee Dee, who in addition to being a great coach is just a great person, wants to spend some time with her kids and grandkids,
she certainly earned that right.
She has earned it. But I don't see her being completely out of LSU athletics. It's in her blood.
Okay, still to come this hour, we're going to take a look at some polling. How are some of these races looking? John Couvillion of JMC Analytics and Polling will be our guest later this hour as Exiles continues in just moments on Pelican Broadcasting.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Back. It is Exiles TV. Bill Profita sits over there. Here in this seat, Kevin Gallagher. Glad to have you with us. And we'll be joined in the center chair by John Couvillion with JMC Analytics and Polling a little bit later this hour. We're going to talk about how are some of these races stacking up.
Oh, yeah, particularly congressional races.
I think the congressional race, just my gut telling me, that with the exception of district, and I always get these wrong, which one is Northeast, 4 or 5? Ralph Abraham, 5. Thank you. With the exception of that district, I think it's going to be a yawner. I think everybody is easily going to go back in, including, I can never remember this guy's name, the Cajun John Wayne.
Clay Higgins.
Clay Higgins, thank you, Bill. I'm sorry. I don't know why I have a mental block on that guy.
He's got some opposition that has some money.
But is there really that big a complaint with Clay Higgins' representation?
I don't think so, but I don't live there.
It's because District 5 is a wide open race. Ralph Abraham stepping down. He had told us when he first got elected, he first ran for that office, he was only interested in about 3 terms, which is what he's done. And then he said he wanted to step down. He believes in term limits. And if the people don't place them on you, place them on yourself. I don't know the name of the challenger. I do know that State Representative Lance Harris really, really, really wants that job.
Oh, there's a couple. There are a couple in there. John Couvillion, be with us a minute. Did you see this story on WAFB about the woman who was arrested for recording her son's arrest? Lori Wright?
I saw a link to that on Facebook yesterday.
Well, this happened in Irwinville.
It's not against the law to record police.
No, it isn't. But a lot of police officers don't seem to understand that. And the messaging is not filtering down from the top, apparently. But what happened is her son was being arrested. She picked up her phone and started making a recording of the arrest. This was in the parking lot of the Rax nightclub in Irwinville. Now, there is other video. There is surveillance video from the club that shows her recording after her son led deputies on a high-speed chase. At one point, the video shows 2 officers coming up to her. It shows one of the officers take her phone away from her. She said after that, the officer, the deputy, and he is named as Vance Matranga, said to her, "I'm tired of hearing you talk, and I don't give an F where you work. You're arrested." And they actually put her against the wall, cuffed her up, etc.
Wow. Just for rolling on the event with her cell phone.
Mm-hmm. Now, the West Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office said originally that she was arrested for interfering with the investigation. She also said she jerked away and hit one of the officers in the chest when he tried to arrest her.
Ooh, well, that I'm going to call resisting arrest.
But it wasn't seen in the video.
Wasn't seen in the video.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure there was a lot that wasn't seen in the video because the cop took the camera away.
Well, I'm talking about the surveillance camera that he didn't take away. It wasn't seen in that video, which I saw that video.
Well,
it's got pretty good view.
Somebody needs to get a message out to cops everywhere, whether they're your local yokels or your county mounties or whatever, that it's not against the law to tape them doing what they do. And if there's some problem, why do they have a problem with that if most of them wearing body cameras? Or they have dash cameras? Why would they have a problem with me recording them?
A lot of them feel that it's none of your damn business. A lot of them don't understand the concept of who they work for. And that's a shame.
Us.
Agreed.
They work for taxpayers.
Well, Channel 9 asked our buddy Franz, who is a former prosecutor and a criminal defense attorney.
Franz Borchardt.
Yeah, to look at the video. And he said, it's clearly troubling that you would expect to see things that align with the sheriff's office statement, and they're just not there on the video.
Have you seen the video?
I saw the surveillance video, yes.
Okay.
Nobody's seen the camera, the cell phone video.
Cell phone video. Here's my question. Was she running her mouth the whole time?
You know what? It's hard to tell from the surveillance video.
Here's the thing. I don't think that you're going to get a lot of trouble for recording events, but when you're trying to intrude in events, that was her son getting busted.
Mm-hmm.
If she was running her mouth, she might have been guilty of obstruction.
Yeah. Well, here's the law. Just in case you're wondering about this. Everyone has the right to record a police encounter as long as they are not interfering with an arrest or intruding on a crime scene. That's the law.
Okay, now if they tell you to back away because you're on a crime scene, you got to do it.
Yeah, if the crime scene is marked.
And if they tell you to shut up, you kind of got to do it.
No, you don't.
Well, wait a minute. What if what you're spewing out of your mouth is interfering with them doing their job?
How would what's coming out of your mouth interfere with
you know what I'm
cuffing
talking about.
somebody?
Just badgering the cop and,
No.
blah, blah, blah.
No, that does not arise to a crime.
Okay.
Now,
all right.
If you run in and try
First Amendment.
If you run in and try to take his cell phone while he's being arrested because you think there might be something on there, no, you're
That's
interfering and obstructing.
Mm-hmm.
If you get between the officer and the person they're trying to arrest. But no, you just can't say, hey, that's my son, let me take him, you don't have to arrest him. That is not obstruction.
Here's the thing how many incidents have there been with the West Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office in recent years? They've had some trouble, though.
It seems like a lot, but there's only 3 that come to mind. And I mean, they have a growing parish and there's a lot of policing to do. The thing is, I think we all want to come to a point in time where we see pretty close to zero on these kind of arrests and incidents because nobody wins.
Yep.
And I understand, officer, that you're tired of people yapping at you constantly, telling you what to do, telling you how to do your job. I understand that. But you got to understand what is going to make the court case is you snatching that phone when you have no right to do so.
It's going to become the case.
Yeah. So protect yourself.
Nobody's talking about what Sonny Boy allegedly did. Everybody's
That's right.
talking about what happened to Mom.
Protect yourself. Don't let them make you the bad guy in this, and don't be the bad guy on this. Sometimes you got to just, I know. Sometimes you just got to turn the other cheek.
Yep. Let's take a break. When we come back, John Couvillion joins us from JMC Analytics and Polling. How are some of these races stacking up? We'll find out. Exiles returns in a moment.
taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
State Treasurer John Schroeder, encouraging you to visit latreasury.com to search for your unclaimed property money. During this pandemic, we've returned money to businesses, local governments, and people across Louisiana.
New Orleans Habitat for Humanity found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Treasury.
Audubon Nature Institute has unclaimed property.
I found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Department of Treasury.
We still have over $800 million. This is your money. Claim it.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
And welcome back, everybody. Glad to have you with us on Exiles TV. I lose track of what day it is. It's Tuesday, right?
It's Tuesday.
I got an appointment.
The 4th.
We got a big election coming up all over this state. We got a big national election. Great big election. So, every member of the United States Congress, House of Representatives has to run. A third of the senators have to run. So we thought we'd take a little longer view since we go all the way from west of Acadiana through Orleans and Jefferson and Plaquemines Parish.
Basically the Mississippi state line.
Yeah, all the way to the Mississippi state line. Talk about some of these races. Joining us is demographer, pollster extraordinaire, John Couvillion from JMC Analytics. And are you at all surprised by who qualified for what congressionally as we look in the state?
Well, the thing I found interesting about the congressional and or the Senate races was the volume of people qualifying, but there weren't really, to me, any what I would consider top flight challengers. Now, yes, Adrian Perkins did decide, Adrian, of course, being the mayor of Shreveport, did decide at the last minute that he wanted to mount a challenge to Bill Cassidy, but the thing is, he has to build his name recognition just like everybody else does. And then, of course, you've got a very crowded field of basically second and third rate candidates. So it'll be a crowded ballot, but I mean, there really aren't any, to me, top-tier challengers. I do see a fair number of retreads looking at these congressional races, and of course the one in Northeast Louisiana will be the hottest of all of them, where there's a vacant seat.
Now, Mr. Perkins must have a hell of a war chest, because he is already advertising in South Louisiana where people had never heard his name before.
Yeah.
And he's buying
He's gonna need to.
He's buying primetime television. That's gonna pretty much force Bill Cassidy, I think, out of self-defense to spend a lot more money than he thought he might have to defend his seat.
Oh yeah, I mean this definitely is a case of, whereas Bill Cassidy may have it on the onset only needed a minimal media expenditure, he'll have to take this moderately seriously. But I think that what's going to happen is you basically have Adrian Perkins, and by the way, some of that vote is going to be taken away from Derek Edwards, who's running yet again, and then you have a multitude of other candidates, and then another Republican, where I figure that'll probably be 2 or 3% of the vote, where they don't think that Bill Cassidy's conservative enough. But it's really going to be Cassidy and Perkins, and then 12 other people.
How deeply is the DNC going to get behind Perkins?
I would say moderately.
I mean, they're going to want that seat.
They're going to want it, but I think more from the purpose of making Cassidy have to spend money to defend his seat, whereas that he could have theoretically contributed to other campaigns had he not had the caliber of opposition he did.
In your opinion, I'm asking for John's opinion, is Cassidy weak in any areas?
I don't think he's weak, but I think that he has to...
Or vulnerable, maybe, is the better word.
The only possible thing would be health care, because the big mistake the Republicans made, in my opinion, was they had control of government in 2017, and they did not have their game plan ready in terms of what they wanted to replace Obamacare with. And in my opinion, that was inexcusable, because to go back in time, when the Democrats took over in 2009 and they got their health care legislation through Congress, this was not something that was thought up on a spur of a moment. It was basically something that had been sitting around since the 1990s when Hillary Care first blew up. And they, of course, made a few modifications and so forth. But the point being was the Democrats were prepared from day one when they had power. Along comes January 2017 when the Republicans had control of both chambers of Congress, and they were still figuring out what they wanted to do with health care, which to me was inexcusable, because the thing was, over time, because President Obama jettisoned the less popular parts of Obamacare, the Democrats have become more and more and more united behind the package. And given that unity from the Democrats, the Republicans really needed to have an alternative thought up, whereas to me, they spent the first few months of 2017 figuring out what they wanted to be when they were going to grow up, so to speak. In other words, they needed to have a plan ready on day one. They did not. The Democrats certainly took advantage of that with all the hubbub you saw at the town halls and so forth throughout the spring of 2017. And I think that was one of several things that helped, or caused rather, Republicans to lose control of the House.
With so many doctors in Congress, in both chambers of Congress, you would have thought, that the GOP would have been able to come up with their own health plan.
Physicians might have been the ones who wanted to stay away from it the most, though.
And one more postscript thought about healthcare reform, for, of course, to get to your question. I think one of the things that's going to make it even tougher to ever uproot Obamacare now is with the individual mandate being taken away. That really, to me, was one of the most odious parts of the legislation from what the average person feels. I mean, other than the insurance companies, no one's going to care about all these requirements that Obamacare has regarding how you spend your money as an insurance company and so forth. But the individual mandate, I felt, was the last major unpopular part of the legislation. Now that it's gone, I think that legislation's here to stay.
Well, and every member of Congress, whether it was from the House or the Senate, that we interviewed that was against Obamacare, that was the thing they were most angry about, was the individual mandate. Now, the way it sits right now, is the Cassidy election a likely runoff election, the way it sits right now?
I would say slightly more likely than not he will win without a runoff, because you figure you have a solid 40% of the vote that's going to go to a Democrat, whether it be Adrian Perkins, Derek Edwards, or the multitude of other Democratic candidates running. You figure all those other Democrats running will each get their 0.5% to 1% of the vote, maybe allow 5% or so to Derek Edwards, not just because he has the Edwards name, but because he ran before. And then that puts Adrian Perkins, in my opinion, at about 30 to 35.
If he really buys it with a lot of advertising.
Right, because the thing is, even up in Shreveport, where he is known, he has as many detractors as he has admirers. Plus, I think a question can be asked as to why he feels the need to run for the U.S. Senate after he's barely started as mayor of Shreveport. In other words, there's kind of the ambition question that I think is something he'll have to answer.
He's an untried quantity.
He is, and then there's questions about allegedly there was a DWI incident, which if the Senate race were to get hot and heavy, that could be something that could get disclosed as well.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah, but not everybody's running
Not
for the
everybody's
Senate.
running for the Senate.
Now, all right, let's talk about the congressional race where they can't see or hear our TV show just to get it out of the way. Mike's district up in Shreveport,
District 4.
Caddo, District 4.
He's probably in good shape, but I think that he has two complications. Number one, another Republican is running. So again, if you have people who think that any incumbent is automatically not conservative enough, I could see that 5 to 10% getting pulled off. Then, because of Adrian Perkins is running, I expect the Democrats will have a robust GOTV effort in the Shreveport area. So since the 4th Congressional District is roughly the Shreveport media market, I would expect Mike Johnson to win, but I think that you're going to have a solid 40 to 45% Democratic vote there.
Okay, we had mentioned District 3, Clay Higgins. What do you see there?
Clay Higgins ought to be in good shape. He does not have any fellow Republicans running against him. He has Rob Anderson, who had run before. But given that Acadiana is going to go solidly for President Trump, I could see a party line vote there. So in other words, Clay Higgins, with all of his opposition in 2018, some of which included Republicans, he still finished in the upper 50s. So point being is I think he gets through easily.
So he should smooth on in.
Yes.
All right, let's move to I guess the open seat, the Ralph Abraham. That comes into our viewing area as well because it's a long, narrow kind of district. So it gets into the Felicianas and St. Helena and just stops at the East Baton Rouge Parish line, I believe.
It does. It basically, if you were to kind of slice the Felicianas horizontally along Highway 10, all of West Feliciana is in the 5th District, as is part of East Feliciana north of Highway 10, in other words, north of Clinton.
So what's going to happen there?
So what's interesting there is, so you have, number one, a diluted Democratic field, which means that you can talk about the possibility of possibly a Republican on Republican runoff. Number two, in terms of the Republicans running and looking at the finance reports, I see that you have Luke Letlow, who's well out ahead. We're talking over $500,000 cash on hand. And by the way, if we go back in time to 2014, Garrett Graves had amassed a great amount of money, and he didn't spend it until he had to. That, to me, is a sign of a very smart campaign. So Luke, I see him as the front runner, especially being that he worked for Dr. Abraham. The only possible competition I could see for him at this point, Lance Harris, even though his cash on hand number wasn't very impressive, there is the question of how much he would cut himself a check to finance the race. And then in third, you have Scotty Robinson. He is on the police jury of Ouachita Parish. I talked about him last time, but since then, I've not been very impressed with his cash on hand number. We're talking about, I think, $50,000 or something like that, which that's basically state house level.
That's 2 weeks in a congressional race.
Yeah.
I've read a lot of people think that 1, Steve Scalise, 2, Cedric Richmond, 6, Garrett Graves, shoe-ins for another term.
They're pretty much fine. I think, though, that because Cedric Richmond has a crowded field, I could see them each chipping off their 3 to 5%.
Crowded field indicates a little trouble in paradise, though. There's things.
Some trouble in paradise, but I think you could also make the argument that a lot of times you have people who get political ambitions in their head, and they think that just because they put a post on Facebook that therefore they can run for Congress or any political office for that matter. But I mean, I think the thing that Cedric Richmond always has as a challenge is that given that the district stretches from Baton Rouge to New Orleans, you're talking about 2 different media markets and distinct cultures that you have to pay attention to. So that's always going to be a problem that Cedric Richmond will have. Even though New Orleans is the dominant part of the district, you do have a decent part of inner city Baton Rouge that's in there.
Well, he's got also the most expensive media expenditures if it comes to that, because he's going to have to buy ADI number 1 and number 2.
Yes.
And the prices are commensurate with that.
But I have heard criticism of him, especially in the capital region, that he's not seen. He never comes and visits his constituency in the capital region.
And that is a problem, especially since being the capital region, you do have a lot of politically ambitious people who are eagerly waiting to run for some office or another. And if a congressman from 70 miles away isn't paying attention to your district, well, that to me is kind of a recipe for challenge.
Take a brief break here, and then we'll talk about Garrett Graves and Steve Scalise, and move on to a couple of other areas with political pollster extraordinaire John Couvillion with JMC Analytics. This is Exiles TV. We'll be back with you in just a couple of minutes.
Belello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Belello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
We're back. It's Exiles TV. I'm Kevin. He's Bill. John Couvillion, JMC Analytics and Polling, is in the center chair, and we're talking about how some of these races are shaping up. You know, we get criticized by other states for our open primary system. I often wondered why it's okay that we use jungle primary. That sounds offensive to me.
Jungle primary?
Yeah, we've used that phrase for decades.
Yes.
Jungle primaries.
Would circus primary be more to your liking?
The open primary system sometimes leaves us vulnerable to December runoffs,
Yes.
which are traditionally very poorly attended, and then we sometimes get surprises. I remember Joseph Gow was a hell of a surprise in District 2 several years back. Because everybody showed up in November, voted for Obama, and then didn't go back to the polls a month later to vote for Bill Jefferson.
Although the Joseph Gow race was a very unique set of circumstances, which hopefully wouldn't be replicated again, because you had two things going on. The first was we were briefly using party primaries that year, and the second was everything got pushed back a month in 2 congressional districts because of the hurricanes. And so what ended up happening was you would normally have had September primary, October runoff, November general election. Well, because of the hurricane, Gustav, and then, of course, Ike, more on the Texas side, the early September primary got pushed back to an early October primary, which meant on presidential election day we had a runoff, which is why they had to have that 2nd and 4th congressional district race in December. So it was a weird set of circumstances. Now, in the terms of the open primary now, the problem you have years and years ago, and I'll unabashedly give you my opinion on this. Years and years ago, we did it the right way, which was we had the primary in early October, and the quote-unquote runoff was in conjunction with the president. It was wonderful. But a lawsuit came along, and it was around 97 or 98, and we were prevented from using that method ever again, which meant that if we wanted to have our quote-unquote primary, it had to be in November. Therefore, you have this mess of the December runoffs. But in the old days, which was pre-1998, I thought it worked wonderfully having, and the same thing for the East Baton Rouge Parish mayor's race. We had everything in October, and if you had your occasional runoff, that would be on presidential election day.
Getting back to what Bill was alluding to before, let's wrap up the congressional districts.
Yes.
We haven't really taken a look at, one, Steve Scalise and Garrett Graves.
So Steve Scalise, he basically has people running again who've run before. It's a heavily Republican district. He should be fine. And he certainly won't lack for funds, of course, given his position in the House leadership. Garrett Graves has basically people running again who none of them are major candidates. And what helps Garrett Graves is, number one, it's a Republican district. Number two, the fact that he's always well-funded. He takes care of that. And none of his opposition is really substantial, so he should be fine. I figure Steve Scalise should probably get in the 70s. Garrett Graves should probably get in the low to mid 60s. Garrett Graves' challenge is this. Baton Rouge is trending Democratic, and even though a fair amount of the parish, East Baton Rouge Parish, is in CD2, you still have a lot of it that is in Garrett Graves' district, which it's about 50-50 Democrat-Republican. It's really Ascension and Livingston and, of course, the coastal parishes that makes it a Republican district.
So Garrett has got Shannon Sloan, who's a libertarian. They're so cute. They're just adorable when they run for high office. They really are. I just want to pet them on their little pointed heads. They're so cute. Anyway, Richard RPT Torregano.
Who's run before.
He's run before, and he is no party.
Okay.
And I understand the 411 on him is he is a
no
party. No, and D'Artagnan Dow Williams.
Yeah,
who is a Democrat. Any big bona fides on any of these?
No, and conceptually what I see happening is this. In this district, meaning the 6th congressional district, you have a 30 to 35% hardcore Democratic vote. You'll remember that when Edwin Edwards decided to run again, that's pretty much what he got in the runoff. So I see the Democratic candidate getting that 30 to 35%, and the independent and the libertarian probably getting another 10% or so between the two of them, which leaves Garrett Graves sitting at about 60.
All right, a quick couple minutes here. Just an overview of the mayor-president's election. There are a lot of people involved here. A lot of moving parts.
And you know what's kind of interesting about it is in what is roughly a 50-50 parish, having multiple credible Republican and multiple credible Democratic candidates makes it a complicated race. Although I'm of the opinion that Mayor Broome, even though she will have a leakage of black votes from Denise Marcelle and or Tara Wicker, I do believe that Mayor Broome would be one of the runoff contenders. The question then becomes, will she be running against Steve Carter, against Matt Watson, against Jordan Piazza, against Tara Wicker? In other words, there's any combination of those that could...
Denise Marcelle.
Yeah, although in Denise Marcelle's case, she doesn't really have much white support, so she'll almost exclusively pull black votes away from Sharon Weston Broome.
I got to tell you, though, she was on the hour before you. She was our first guest on the program today, and she was like a different woman. And I think she understands the need to appeal to a much broader base.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what's interesting when you're talking about a parish-wide race in East Baton Rouge Parish is you have a 44% black electorate, which does mean that you kind of have to start thinking of coalition building. And what's even going to be more interesting, in the 2010 census, the white population was a narrow plurality. I would personally not be surprised if when the 2020 census is complete, you either have a black plurality or a black majority here in East Baton Rouge Parish, which of course will make the Metro Council redistricting quite interesting.
Kevin said this, I got to give him credit for this line, but I think it rings true, is everybody was clicking along, qualifying for mayor president, and then about a half an hour before qualifying ended, Steve Carter came in, and as Kevin put it, all the air got sucked from the room.
Yeah, you could hear it.
Well, Steve Carter will certainly be a formidable candidate, and he won't lack for funds. He, of course, has to fight off two fellow Republicans. So he doesn't necessarily have that 40 or so % of the vote guaranteed. He's going to have to fight and scrap like the rest of us. But that was certainly an interesting entry, kind of like when Kyle Ardoin jumped in literally at 4:29 p.m. for the Secretary of State's race a couple years ago.
Well, Steve has been elected from voters in East Baton Rouge Parish
Yes.
many, many times. He has also been a very vocal voice for East Baton Rouge Parish in the legislature on matters that are important to East Baton Rouge Parish, like traffic, and urban sprawl and things like this. I mean, he's got a big, long record he can run on.
Yes.
But with Jordan Piazza, a businessman who has been successful, with Matt Watson on the council, who has had a lot of issues that he has taken on, does it guarantee a Sharon Weston Broome Tara Wicker runoff, for example?
It's certainly possible, because what you're talking about there is a fragmentation of the Republican electorate. And one of the things which I think is kind of interesting, too, about what's going on the Republican side was when, for whatever reasons, the consultant for Piazza felt it necessary to try to challenge Matt Watson's candidacy. I mean, that to me, when you have that many fingerprints on that kind of a suit, that just leaves a bad taste in people's mouths.
It makes you look desperate.
Yes.
That was a question I wanted to ask you, is that we seem to be seeing a little bit more of that with a variety of races.
Yeah.
If you think that there's a doubt that you can win, find some reason to sue.
Yeah.
Is this tried and true, or is this something that we're seeing just a little bit more of than usual this year?
To be honest with you, it seems like there's more of kind of a flavor of nastiness in this year's elections, because you're right. I do not ever remember there being this many lawsuits in any election after qualifying, but here in East Baton Rouge, it's kind of like line them up. Just about every Metro Council candidate, it seems, is having some kind of a challenge to his or her candidacy.
They have some kind of baggage that people want to assign to them.
Or you just have people who want to kind of, I don't know, maybe they think that throwing elbows is the proper protocol for running a political office. I mean, I will admit to you it's puzzling that I've not seen this many election challenges occur before.
I think they do so at their own peril.
Yeah.
Because Baton Rouge still, for whatever reason, loves an underdog, loves a martyr.
Yes.
And I think when you go and this early on try to stick a knife in somebody's candidacy, it's their name that's atop the headline.
Yes.
In the news stories, and it's the first words that are mentioned in broadcasting. And I think you look like you want to torpedo them, and a lot of people in Baton Rouge think that's not kosher, that's not cricket, that's not the fair way to do it.
Right. We're polite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the thing is, I get that with the coronavirus that people's nerves are on edge this year, particularly if a lot of them are, kind of precariously getting by economically. But still, throwing elbows like that to me should not be part of any kind of campaign, because the thing is, if they're throwing elbows now, what would it be like if that candidate won?
Well, and again, I think you do something like this at your own peril, because all of these people have been around a long time. Does everybody want to see whether somebody got picked up and driven home by the cops because they were being loud and disorderly 25 years ago? Does everybody want to? I mean, you want them to look at you know, maybe you had to take somebody out of your establishment and bounce them a little hard on the concrete, you know, 6 years ago. Do you really want to go down that path?
Yeah.
John, we're going to take another quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to wrap up the show. But I want to ask you about presidential. What your impressions are. Trump, Biden, 2020. We'll talk about that when Exiles TV returns.
Ooh,
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For Total Pest Control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Clarence Bug Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bug Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
We're back. It's Exiles TV. We have just a few short minutes left with John Couvillion with JMC Analytics and Polling. Let's go national. Let's talk Trump or Biden 2020.
So my default stance on the presidential election is this. I think President Trump is in very deep trouble. I do not, however, count him out, because the thing is, Joe Biden is at some point going to have to make the case for why he'd be a better president than Donald Trump is. The concern I have about President Trump is this: besides the obvious, which are his poll numbers, which are pretty bad, I've been looking at turnout numbers in the primaries that have been held across the country, and the concern I have is I'm seeing all these surges in Democratic enthusiasm. And to give you one example of many I've seen, in the state of Florida, typically absentee/mail voting is the Republicans' kind of crown jewel, as in they've learned the process, they've perfected it, they know how to turn out the senior citizen vote. Well, 4 years ago in the primary, it was plus 11% Republican. Thus far, it's plus 11% Democratic. And so my concern is you have a lot of people who are going to be voting by mail because they do not want to be anywhere near a polling place. And you're going to have this false sense of security from the Republicans if you're looking purely at election night vote, which is people who brave the lines to vote in the polls.
But then all those mail-in votes cascade in.
Correct. And a couple of really good examples of just how the mail-ins are slowing everything down. In the state of New York, they had a June 23rd primary. They still have not released the results in a couple of congressional races, and they're not even doing partial releases, which I think is terrible. In the state of California, it took them something like 7 weeks to count the votes, because something like 45% of the vote came in after Election Day. So the thing about those mail-in ballots is it's a manual process. It takes longer to count. I would personally not be surprised, based on what I've been seeing here in Louisiana, if we're talking about 400 or 500,000 or more mail-in ballots in November compared to the 60,000 who voted by mail back in 2016. So those are some concerns that I have about the election.
Will we know who won by Inauguration Day?
Well, what I think is going to happen, and I think it's what people need to be prepared for, is not election night per se, but election week.
You know, I don't see why we couldn't vote over a whole week and allow more people to be safe at the polls instead of trusting the United States Mail Service. John, I got one more question. I have been asked to ask people in the know in politics, so that's you.
Okay, thank you.
Since it looks like we're not going to have such a thing as a brokered convention, because it doesn't look like there's really going to be conventions.
Yeah.
Is there a chance for a John Anderson, a strong third party, to slip in here somewhere?
Well, you know, there's always the potential for that, but you have a couple things going on. Number one, the ballot access laws that all 50 states have that are very different from state to state really means you need to have quite a few months of lead time, as in getting started back in the spring, like what Ross Perot and John Anderson did. Number two, you have to have a candidate substantial enough to where he can command some attention. And yes, I've heard all the buzz about Kanye West, and maybe he'll qualify in 3 or 4 states, but for him to be thought of as a serious presidential candidate, to me, is an entirely different matter.
For him to be thought of as serious is an entirely different matter.
Again, I just, you know, and I don't really care one way or another, but there are a lot of people, and these are not your normal crackpots, you know, that pipe up before every election cycle, but there are people that have been saying that Governor Cuomo might just hip-check Joe Biden out of the way and say, all right, you asked for it, you got it, it's me.
Yeah. Well, you know, I hear that talk all the time about Joe Biden not being the nominee, but I don't take it seriously, because to me, it's like, okay, if you're going to start a rumor like that, on what basis are you?
Well, yeah, what's the context?
Yeah. Plus, you got to remember that the Democrats want very badly to get rid of President Trump, and you did have a very contested primary race that rapidly ended pretty much on Super Tuesday. I mean, it was almost eerie, the coincidence between the Democratic primary's conclusion and the unfortunate arrival of the pandemic.
I'm going to hit you with one last question, and in 90 seconds, I don't know if this is even fair. It seems to me today we have 2 Democratic parties. We've got traditional older Democrats, and then we've got today's more Marxist Democrats. How does that affect the overall vote?
For the presidential race, it won't, because the Democrats united in their dislike of President Trump. But I could see that being an issue, number one, in future presidential primaries. Number two, with what happens if you were to have enlarged Democratic congressional majorities where the moderates and progressives start fighting.
Well,
that was a good short answer.
That was
a damn good short answer.
It's a very short answer. As always, John, we appreciate your time and your expertise and your observations. Again, this is based on studied opinion, folks. The science is going to remain to be seen over the next several weeks, don't you think?
It'll be interesting. Well, you know, one of the things I think that's important for your listeners to appreciate, too, is, believe it or not, in early September, they're going to be sending out absentee ballots in places like North Carolina. So the voting is really not that far from being underway for November.
Wow. And there we have it. Folks, we appreciate you joining us on Exiles TV. We will be back on Thursday with more to talk about. If you know somebody who should see this, it will be on YouTube under Pelican Broadcasting in about 3 or 4 hours, and the replay tonight on this very channel at 10 p.m. if you just can't get enough of us. In the meantime, take good care of yourselves.
And may God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.